one of the benefits that I always tell people is as soon as you lay your hands on somebody, even if it's not a masseuse, but as soon as you pick your little one up and you rub them and you cuddle them, our immune system gets a boost.
Hi and welcome everybody to the Endo Fertility podcast, where you will be empowered to learn how to thrive and conceive with endometriosis. If you want to understand more about your endometriosis, how it can affect your fertility, and how you can personally take action to optimise your health and life, then this is the place for you. I am your host, Lizzie Alexander, founder of the Endo Fertility Specialist. As a doctor of marine ecology turned integrative nutrition health coach and holistic massage therapist, I bring a unique perspective to our discussions. Most importantly, I know what it's like to experience chronic fatigue and endo and struggle for years with primary and secondary infertility. I am now a super busy, thriving military wife, business owner and mother of an adorable little boy. Join me every Wednesday as I dive into topics that will support and guide you, from knowledge about endo and conceiving to nutrition, lifestyle and mindset, pain management to assisted fertility support, functional nutrition and testing, and much more. This podcast is designed to enhance your knowledge so you can explore the whys behind your endo and fertility struggles, whilst moving forwards towards thriving and conceiving. Please note that this is not meant to replace your current medical advice. Together, we will explore a holistic approach to healing that equips you with a toolbox full of diverse strategies to help you manage your endo and enhance your fertility journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy listening. This episode is brought to you by my Ultimate Endo Fertility Library, available through the Endo Fertility app. This app, available on Apple and Google Play, makes it super easy to access valuable resources and courses right on your phone, even offline, making it perfect for meditations and travel. Inside the free library, you will find essential first steps to support your healing journey, including a quick start ebook, symptom tracker, delicious recipes, workbooks, guided meditations, and other helpful resources. So make sure to check out the show notes for the link to start exploring these resources today. Welcome to episode 51, everyone. I am really excited to share yet another great interview. Now, in this episode of the podcast, we are revisiting a heartwarming conversation with the incredible Jacqueline Beswick, affectionately known as Jack from Jacksfeet. Now, this interview was recorded 2 years ago, and it takes me back to my time in North Yorkshire on our last posting, where I used to make the journey to a quaint little village in the heart of the Yorkshire Dales to meet Jack. Now, the drive was about an hour and a quarter each way through winding roads and stuck behind tractors, but literally every minute was worth it because Jack's expertise truly alleviated my inflammation, bloating, lower back pain and stress, and I knew it was helping my fertility. Now, Jack's journey into massage therapy is both inspiring and deeply rooted in her earlier experiences. She began massaging apparently at the tender age of 2, helping her father relieve muscle cramps after a cold day, and you'll hear more about it in the episode. With a background in nursing and a passion for holistic healing, Jack transitioned to becoming a full-time massage therapist and an abdominal collective therapy practitioner. It was back in 2002, so quite a long time ago. So her insights into the importance of massage extend beyond relaxation. They encompass significant physical and mental health benefits. Now, during the interview, we explored how whole body massage can enhance overall wellness, boost immunity, and alleviate symptoms relating to endometriosis. Now, the main topic was around the ancient concept of abdominal massage therapy and then its transformative effects on fertility and pelvic health. From the moment I met Jack in her heartwarming treatment room, I felt this immediate connection with Jack, and I'm excited for you to hear her valuable knowledge and experiences in this episode. One thing I noted, though, from listening back to the interview was my comment around vaginal steaming over a bowl in the toilet. Since my advanced training with Moira Bradfield over in Australia on intimate ecology, I have since changed how I steam, which is over a bowl on a mat in baby pose with a towel over the top of me, or on a purpose-built seat with a hole with a bowl that you sit over. I really wouldn't recommend putting a bowl of water in a toilet, as bacteria do move with the steam. And unless you could eat from a toilet seat, I really, really, really wouldn't recommend it. So, on that note, join us as we delve into the world of massage and its benefits for both your body and your mind, in particular in relation to fertility and endometriosis. Without further ado, let's get started. Hey, Jack, welcome to the podcast. It is wonderful to have you here today.
It's great to be here. I've been looking forward to it, actually. I've been getting a bit excited.
So, as I've said to everyone, you're my massage therapist. I drive across the Dales to find you. It's been fantastic. And I really just wanted to get you on the podcast to have you talk to my audience, because I love our chats when I come over for my massage therapy. You're a woman who's got so much knowledge in your head. I really wanted you to share that. So I think first off, I really like to have people explain a little bit behind why they do what they're doing. So, what led you to become a massage therapist? I mean, you were a nurse beforehand, weren't you? So how did you get into all of this? What's your passion behind it?
My passion is I started massaging at the age of 2. I don't know if I've told you this story, but I have memories of massaging my dad at the age of 2. And my mum couldn't believe it when I said to her, how old was I when this happened? And she stood there with her mouth open in disbelief, because she said, you would have been 2. It was back in the very early 1960s. Well, I was born in 57. So around about 59, 1960, there was a really bad lot of snow, really freezing cold. And we were still living in London at the time. And my dad drove a motorbike, and he came in. He was so cold and his clothes frozen to him that my mum had to literally defrost him and undress him where he stood. We had to peel his clothes off of him. And she stuck his feet in a bucket of hot water to try and defrost him, because he was nearly frying with the pain from the cramp in his legs. And I can remember sitting there and getting my little fingers into his muscles and teasing out the knots that the cramp was causing in his muscles. And I've always had this ability that when I'm stood near somebody and if they're in pain, I've always just been able to lay my hand where the pain was, like lower back,
Oh, wow.
arm, leg. And then I started nursing in the late 80s, 87. I started nursing. I'd been a carer for me years before that. And I just used to love massaging people. If someone was in pain, I'd put my hand where the pain is and they'd go, oh, that's right where it is. And I would just gently massage it until the pain went. And then after I qualified, I got a job in Nottingham at Hayward House, which is the palliative care unit, because I wanted to specialise in terminal care. And our consultant, Dr. Corcoran, he liked the nurses to be able to do massage, reflexology, aromatherapy, crystal therapy, colour therapy. He encouraged us to go and train as alternative therapists.
Oh, wow.
And he did that by paying whichever course we wanted to go on, as long as it was alternative, if I'm allowed to use that word, he would pay half for the course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I took advantage of it. I did my reflexology and my massage course while I was there in the 4 years that I was there, and he paid half for me. And then I realized how much that was what I really, really wanted to do. I loved nursing. I loved caring for people, but I was one of those nurses who didn't like drugs. It doesn't sit with man-made drugs, because as a therapist, a lot of the time, my clients are coming to me because what's wrong with them has been created by the drugs that they're on. And they don't always recognize it. Something as simple as paracetamol and brufen can cause so many issues with your gut. Constipation, irritable bowel, And so once I realized that I could really, really help people, and that I didn't have a doctor standing over me or a nurse higher up the scale standing over me going, I went, okay. But it wasn't until 2002 that I went full-time as a therapist. But I still didn't give up nursing, and I didn't give up teaching, because I still used to nurse. I used to teach for framework. I used to teach client care. So I was teaching how to bed bath. I would be teaching how to change a catheter, how to change a stoma bag. So I was able to keep my nurse's registration up because of what I was teaching.
So your massage, you started in so you've been doing it for the last 20 years, and
over 30.
So 30, I can't do the maths. Oh no, I was thinking since you went full time, since in 2002.
I worked part-time. That's Jacksfeet came about right at the very beginning when I first qualified in reflexology. I called the business Jacksfeet, and I was going to go mobile, but I was a coward. I went Jacksfeet registered fully as a full-time business in 2002, but I've been qualified since 92. Yeah.
So in terms of the massage that you do, massage is just amazing. There are so many benefits to it. And I know that a lot of people actually consider massage as a treat. We certainly do now, and certainly do in the UK. There are other countries, in Asia where it's and in Greece in the past, and many other India, where it's part of their care, it's part of their daily care, and I would love to see it go back to that, where it's part of your it's a treatment, it's a preventional medicine, rather than seen as a treat. Oh, you're tired, you're this, that, you're that. And like I said, thousands of years ago, the Greeks saw this, didn't they? And like I said, other cultures, they saw this as a preventative medicine. If you have a massage every day, it'll keep the doctor away, kind of thing, a bit like have an apple a day. Could you maybe share with us some of the physical and mental benefits to massage in general, before we kind of hop onto abdominal?
Yeah, not a problem. I would like to add in that little bit of info there. In China, it's still practiced today that if you become ill and you have regular treatments, like once a week, 2-3 times a week of a therapist, and you become ill, they have to treat you for free until they make you better.
So I love that.
It's actually on its head.
Yeah.
Because I get people through the door when they're like, oh, Jack, I can hardly move, and you need to sort me back out. Young lad at the moment, quite a young lad, builder. My son kept saying to him, go and see mum, she'll sort your back out, go and see mum. And he came for one treatment, and the next week he came back and he went, my back, Jack, it's not hurt. And he's coming every week now.
Oh, really? As a prevention?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So that's what it is. It is preventative. We can't always stop somebody becoming ill, but we can certainly help and prevent them becoming ill. If you're in a job where you're constantly repetitively doing the same thing, you're going to eventually damage your body. And if you do come for massage and you do come regular, we can prevent that from happening, or at least we can prevent, when you're in your 80s, hardly being able to move because of the joint injury, the bone injury, and everything else that comes with repetitive work, because we don't work our bodies in the way that they were designed to work. We're not hunter-gatherers anymore. We'll sit at a desk all day with bad posture. We hardly.
I was, yeah, and I was about to say that in terms of sort of the obviously my listeners have endometriosis and are trying to get pregnant, and from that point of view, a lot of people these days are sitting at desks, and the whole pelvic stagnation, that whole not moving. I mean, I notice it in the weeks where I'm sitting too much and I don't make that effort to get up, move, or use my standing desk. I can feel it. I can just feel sort of there's just no movement around that pelvic area. And we'll come on to that in a bit in terms of sort of abdominal massage therapy.
One of the main benefits for me, and it's really important in this at this time. One of the benefits that I always tell people is as soon as you lay your hands on somebody, even if it's not a masseuse, but as soon as you pick your little one up and you rub them and you cuddle them, our immune system gets a boost. So any immunity that we've got is boosted up, which gives us a much stronger immune system, which means like things like COVID, our body is more capable of combating it. So immunity, the way that it improves immunity. The other thing is many, many years ago, an old therapist that I met many, many years ago before I was even qualified, she said, imagine how happy you'd be, Jack, if the first person you see in the morning was smiling at you. And I thought about, and off she went, because I get these people will say something to me and then they'll go off and I'm like, you're left with this lovely glow package thinking, yeah, what's behind that? And then I realized when you massage somebody and they're massaged regular, they are happier because their body feels loose and they can move and they're more likely to smile. So if you get up in the morning when you've had a month of, oh my God, I don't want to move. And then you get up one morning and you go, oh my body. And you look at yourself in the mirror, you're going to smile. And that is the first person that's looked at you. So it works mentally as well as spiritually. Your body's loaded with endorphins and prostaglandins, which are both our happy pills, our natural happy pills, and our natural painkillers. And if your body is loaded with those, adrenaline is held down. So adrenaline is illness. So if you're anxious and you're stressed out, adrenaline's doing this, and endorphins and prostaglandins are going down. But if you've got them high, they hold it down. So it reduces anxiety, it reduces stress, and you can smile at yourself.
and I love that. And I think, I wish we were, lived in that society where you could have a massage every day. God, I mean, to me, it's like, I remember taking the decision, right, I want to learn massage. I love giving massage. I want to learn this. And I remember when I was looking around, I was like, realized that actually to learn massage, it means you have to receive it and give it and receive it. And I was like, this is great. This means I get to receive massage at the same time as giving it. I love it. I just love it. I love, and I think it is just an amazing therapy. And like you said, it's got so many benefits. And when you've got, a disease like endometriosis and you're trying to conceive and it's so stressful. There is so much stress around that. Both, endometriosis being a painful disease, there's likely to be quite a lot of medical trauma if it's taken you a long time to get that diagnosis. So something like a massage, even not being as technical as talking about abdominal massage, but having regular massages as part of your toolbox to help you heal is, it's an amazing treatment for you, and it's very, very beneficial. Now, one of the things that we were going to talk about, Jack, is I really wanted to share with the listeners about the amazing practices by the Abdominal Therapy Collective, which you're part of, in particular abdominal massage. So can you tell us a bit about abdominal massage therapy, how it came about, what it is? It'd be great for my listeners to understand a bit more.
So specifically for ladies with endometriosis?
Yes.
A lot of ladies, well, not just ladies, but a lot of people are sat at a desk all day these days, or sat at a till. The way we live is totally changing. And what happens, our organs have all got a membrane around the outside of them. Every single organ in the body has got two membranes. One membrane is right next to the organ, and the other membrane is right next to the organ that lays next to it. So, and between the membranes is fluid. And this fluid is meant to stay very liquid so that organs can slide over each other. So muscle fibers can slide over each other. So you can pick your skin up and it drops. We've got 90% of our body is water. So this fluid is meant to stay very fluid. And when you become sat and you become less mobile, the fluid starts to thicken. And if that fluid thickens, it can stick, which means that your organs can actually get stuck together, which is why we should get up and walk about. But the abdominal massage that we teach you will free up the fluid. So all the organs, again, can become quite mobile. Yeah. Does that explains that bit?
Yeah.
How else we help is in America, the girls in America and the practitioners in America, because it's private, they can say to a lady, would you have you had a scan? What your scan showed? And they can go and get scans because they can ask, because it's all private. But over here, we haven't got that. So in a way, in America, it's easier for the therapists because they can check what's happening inside their client's body. As their client can go and ask for a scan, can go and ask for a laparoscopy. And they do know that from an initial scan in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, they do know that there's changes taking place in the abdomen. And they know, like, endometriosis can be anywhere in the body. There can be cells in the brain, in the lungs. It's not just the abdomen. But they know, and in some cases, that with the work that you do on yourself, because we teach you how to do the massage to yourself, plus the work that we do and the complementary modalities that we use with the work, that endometriosis sometimes it's totally relieved.
And the symptoms are?
Yeah, in some women, it virtually goes away. The cells are probably still there, but they're not as inflamed. They're not bleeding. They're not reacting to estrogen and progesterone as they are if it's untreated.
So that is amazing. That is amazing that massage therapy can have such an impact on endometriosis. So can you maybe explain, what is the abdominal massage therapy? So you're teaching it. So this is self-abdominal therapy that you teach, or do they come and see? Do they come and see you? How does it work?
We teach you the abdominal massage to do at home on yourself, which is every day, unless you are bleeding. If you're menstruating, then you only do the upper abdomen, because we work it as in two parts of the abdomen. You've got the upper abdomen and the lower abdomen. The upper abdomen you would do every single day, 24/7. The lower abdomen, you would only do that when you wasn't menstruating. So you can do what we call hot hands. So if I was menstruating, I can just hold. I can make my hands hot and I can just hold. So you would hold the lower abdomen for the length of time it would take you to actually perform the massage on yourself. When you come to your therapist, you usually come, unless you're doing a fertility program, you would only come once a month. And that would be in the gap between menses finishing and ovulation. So we have about 7 days to catch you in. As you know, it's not always easy.
Yeah, no.
Once you've ovulated, we don't work on you in case you've
got pregnant. Yeah.
So we don't work on you after ovulation. And obviously we can't work on your lower abdomen while you're bleeding. So we have a window of about 7 days to get you in. so that we work the whole of the back. We stretch out all the tendons and the ligaments in the pelvis on the back. And there are some strokes that we do on the abdomen that obviously you can't do on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we work with you once a month, but we have got 2 regimes for ladies that want to get pregnant. They perhaps have been down IVF and feel that they need some more support, or ladies try it before they don't have their IVF. And those regimes, we've got a 1-month one where we'll see you. You've got to promise us that you're not going to conceive in that month.
In that first month, right? Okay.
In the first month, take precautions, and then we will see you 2 or 3 times in that first month. In the 3-month program.
Sorry, what's the idea so the idea is to really get in there and be able to give them treatment within that first month. That's the purpose. To go. Okay.
Yeah. So we would probably work on you as long as you wasn't pregnant before your menses, work on you in that period where between menses and ovulation, and then work on you again between ovulation and your next menses.
Yeah.
With the promise that you've done a pregnancy test and that you aren't pregnant.
Mm.
There's no proof that abdominal massage could cause a miscarriage. There's no proof. And in my soul, my heart, I believe that it wouldn't. But it wouldn't be right of us to do something and then the lady find out, oh, I was pregnant and I've miscarried. With the 3-month one, what does the massage do? It increases the blood supply to the ovaries and the uterus. The way that it increases the blood supply, it's a richer blood supply, so you get a better egg and you get a better quality of endometrium. But also you get a balance in the hormones, you get a better balance. So the estrogen and the progesterone levels, although they're still going up and down like they normally would, they're more balanced. So you're not getting too much progesterone and not enough estrogen. You're getting the right amount of both, and they're swinging how they're meant to swing. So you get a balance. So you're increasing the chances of conceiving. What it also doing is we can help the uterus to get back into the correct position.
I was going to ask about this. Yeah.
So there's actually, we've got a set of ligaments that support the uterus. Here she is.
So for those listening on the podcast, Jack has got a lovely she's got a knitted uterus with fallopian tubes and ovaries and lots of ligaments, lots of dangly string ligaments.
And these ligaments are the same ligaments that connect other parts of our bodies to other parts. So the uterus is literally suspended in midair in the abdomen. And she's suspended there and she's held in place by the strength of these ligaments. You've got ligaments coming forward that connect to the pelvic bone at the front. You've got ligaments at the back that go out the back and connect to the ligament on the back, on the sacrum. Then you've got the big ligament that comes in from left and right of the pelvis, which forms the cardinal ligament. And this is the ligament that keeps the baby in.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're pregnant, the cardinal ligament is the one that closes off the cervix and keeps the baby in. So it's the one that tightens the cervix up. But she bounces around. If you trip, she can go out of alignment. If you hurt your back, she can go out of alignment. She can be pulled backwards. If you damage the ligament that's going to the sacrum, it can go tight and it will pull her backwards. If you damage the one going to the front, it will pull it tight and bend her forwards. She can be bent to the side because you've got the round ligament that supports her up and down. which actually terminates in our labia, which is why some of you ladies that get a really severe pull in abdominal pain as the uterus is getting bigger, and it feels like it's coming from between your legs. It literally is, because the round ligament ends in the labia majora. And
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, as that grows, it gets stretched to 3 times the length to what it should be.
So also, sorry, just interrupted you. With regards to the ligaments, then, when you've got endometriosis, some women get growth, endometriosis cells on their ligaments. Of course, that is then, in scar tissue, and that's then going to potentially distort. If the scar tissue then attached to the outside of, the pelvic wall, it's going to end up causing the uterus to be potentially distorted.
That's right. She could be pulled sideways. And to conceive, she's almost got to be in the perfect position to conceive. If she's bent backwards, forwards, sideways, doubled over, twisted backwards and then forwards again, it's very difficult for the egg to implant. It's not difficult. It becomes a different problem then. It doesn't become a problem of conception. It becomes a problem of implantation.
Right, okay.
So you might be conceiving, but because of where the uterus is, because she's not in the right position, or the endometrium isn't as thick, as fluffy as it should be, because of your hormones being out of balance, you haven't got that really thick, fluffy endometrium for the egg to burrow into. She could be passed out. A fertilized egg can be passed out with your next menses.
So that's where you're saying that massage can really help then. Can massage actually adjust the position? How does that work? Just maybe explain that.
Right. Going back to Hippocrates then, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, the Greek whenever it was, BC, 600 BC.
I can't remember when, no.
But he realized that what massage can do is, if you've got a tight ligament, it can loosen it. And if you've got a weak ligament, it can strengthen it. So if you've got a tight ligament due to scar tissue that's pulling the uterus back, the massage can lengthen that ligament. And as it's releasing the scar tissue on the ligament that's pulling the uterus back, it will be tightening the one at the front, so that the uterus will be brought back into neutral position.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And that
by releasing the scar tissue.
And can you feel that when you're massaging? Can you feel where the uterus is, or are you feeling for the ligaments? I mean, I know when I've done self massage, there are particular areas where they can be really, really tight. I can feel that tightness. Yeah, and it does release off after a while, after you've massaged it for, a regular period of time.
Yeah. In England, unfortunately, in the United Kingdom, we are governed by the British Medical Council, and we aren't doctors, so we're not allowed to diagnose. So we're not allowed to say to you, your uterus is to the left, your uterus is to your right, it's back, it's forward. We're not allowed to diagnose. You can, you can, what we can feel is when we do our first strokes on you, we're looking to see how big a gap there is either side. So our hands will fall off the hip into the abdomen, and we come across to the center. And what we will be looking for is if there is a difference in one side or the other. Does one side go 2 inches and one side only half an inch before we stop? So it gives us an idea where the uterus is laying, but we're not allowed to say to you, your uterus is laying
this way. Yeah. Which is totally understandable. And just to kind of like add to the picture of, you say, you're talking about the uterus, it can move if you fall over. And you always hear about it when you do go to, well, you don't always hear about it. Actually, I think sometimes you have to ask, because when you do go for a scan, an ultrasound scan, sometimes they say, you're at this part of the cycle, your uterus is tilted this way. it moves, doesn't it? It moves during your cycle.
Yeah.
And how does that work?
Well, it's on ligaments. So if you've got a ligament that's shortening and one that's lengthening, she will move. If you're sat, I got into a terrible place a few years ago where I was doing a lot of sitting and I was sat awkward, and I started to get back pain and I started to get heavy periods. And what happens is she'll fall that way. The uterus can fall that way. And if things are not as free as they should be, and you're not getting around so that the uterus is going back into neutral, you can get adhesions, you can get sticky fluid. So it's going to keep more to one side. And then as soon as I stopped doing that and made myself sit up properly,
it made a difference.
Yeah, it made a difference. So if you trip, our pelvis, unlike a man's pelvis, our pelvis doesn't become fully rigid until the age of 36. So if you trip up a pavement at 24, you can put your pelvis out. And if your pelvis is out, because the uterus is joined to the pelvis, back, front, sides, bottom, top, she will go out of position with the pelvis. Because if the pelvis is twisting, or if it's tilting backwards or forwards, she will go with it because the ligaments are the length that they are.
So you mentioned there, it was really interesting about your coccyx, about your tailbone becoming rigid at 36. What does that, because it's something you've talked to me about and I always find fascinating. I would love you to share that fact with our listeners, because it is fascinating how your body then does change, and whether it and actually once you become post 36, is it more important to see someone like yourself or other massage practitioners within the abdominal therapy collective to try and work on loosening up things? Does that is 36 a magic number, and why is that?
36 is when most women's the sacrum it's made up of 3 plates. And up until the age of 36, when we get relaxin released in the body towards the end of our pregnancy, the platelets will soften and they'll lift up like a hinge, boom, boom, boom. But after 36, they don't, even though our body will be releasing the relaxin, because they're fused, they don't lift up. So it's not opening, and it's not opening as much as a 26-year-old's would for the baby's head to come out. It could be one of the reasons why we're seeing more women with emergency sections where the babies are getting stuck, because it's the opening of the platelets that makes the passageway big enough for the baby's head to come through.
That's quite an interesting. And
that's why we secrete relaxing, because the pelvis can move and open. That's why some ladies get the mobile pelvis and they have to wear the belts to keep the pelvis together.
Yes.
Because the relaxing is making the pelvis movable so that the baby can be delivered. And unfortunately for me, what happened when I was 19, I fell on my coccyx twice in six months, and my platelets, the middle platelet went underneath the upper platelet and rode over the top of the lower platelet. So my middle platelet was tilted, making my birth canal smaller. I had my son at 21 and ended up with forceps delivery because he had a job pushing his head through. So I ended up with forceps with him. And then at 42 with my daughter, she totally stuck. She even turned round during delivery because she'd managed to bruise the back of her head, bless her. So she actually turned around while she was in the canal
Yeah.
to present upside down. So instead of coming out face first, she was presenting coming out head first, because they use their head to push you open. So that's why they present that way. So they're coming through like that with their face forward, because they use their head to push you open. And she turned, bless her, to try and push me open. But by the time I was 42, 43, it was all molded together. It's fixed. So in Maya tradition, where the abdominal collective, where the roots of our treatment, if a child, especially a little girl, falls over and lands on her bum, she's took straight away to either a midwife or a shaman, and they work on the sacrum to get it back in place, so that when they're old enough to have their children, it's a lot easier for them.
Okay, so the importance of your tailbone, and if you've had any accidents, I mean, I've had so many snowboarding in the time of learning snowboarding. I mean, it's not a great example, not a great example for fertility, but I mean, I have had so many accidents on my tailbone, on my coccyx, and damaged them, which, we've talked about and you've seen. So it just shows actually that you really do need then to look at, I should have then had immediate care on it rather than just stuck an ice pack and ignored it.
On your sacrum, your ligaments of your sacrum, there's a lot of scar tissue, and working you sometimes it's a bit, that's because I'm trying to free up and break down that scar tissue to free up your sacrum so that it's easier delivery and less likely for baby to get stuck.
So, I mean, the good news from this then to take from it is, okay, you might be, over 36 and you're trying to have a baby, but don't worry about that. What I'm saying here is, having abdominal massage is a really good treatment then. So if you've got any tightness within your pelvis as a result of your endometriosis, it might not be as a result of your endometriosis. Like I've had snowboarding accidents. So it's nothing to do with the endo, that are really then helping to make sure that your pelvic area is loosened up. It doesn't have that scar tissue and can really help.
Yeah, that's one of the things on our form that we ask mums. It's one of the questions that we ask our clients is, have you ever injured your coccyx? And people quite often say no. And then you say, are you sure? You never fell over and gone bam on your backside during, while you've been out in the snow playing around.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, oh, well, I might have done. But I can remember mine. And I even went to doctors both times because it's so much agony. And they went, oh, you've probably broke your coccyx. They never x-rayed me or anything. If they'd have x-rayed me, they'd have seen that my sacrum was actually out of position. Because they just go, oh, you fell over on your coccyx. Okay, you bruised your coccyx. Go and take paracetamol. 3 weeks later, you still don't want to sit there. Yeah.
I think we do.
How else the massage helps the ladies with endometriosis? It balances the hormones. We covered that, didn't we?
Yeah, we covered that. It was also, from a fertility point of view, how it's,
it improves the blood supply. You get a healthier egg, you get a healthier endometrium. And what we just covered then is during pregnancy and during delivery, we work to free up all the pelvis and break down any adhesions in the sacrum so that you get a better delivery.
Oh, fantastic. That's really, really helpful. Are there any other practices that you like to recommend to your clients to do at the same time as having abdominal massage?
Reflexology works amazing for people with fertility problems. Reflexology works really, really well. Within what we teach, we call our complementary modalities.
Mm-hmm.
Use castor oil packs.
Yes.
Oil has the ability, it's anti-inflammatory, which is one of the main problems for ladies with endometriosis, because wherever you've got the endometrium, to shed the old endometrium, the lining of the uterus becomes inflamed. So you've got lots of inflammation in the body. So castor oil is naturally anti-inflammatory. So it's reducing the inflammation wherever it is in your body.
Mm.
It also breaks down scar tissue. It's also just really nurturing. I know when you've used a castor oil pack, or I've put one on you before we start work, you've gone, because you've got the warmth.
Yeah. I like the hot stones too.
The hot stones too. And then we use perineal steams.
Yes.
So use the perineal steam. We use different herbs. You make a tea of the herbs. We use different herbs depending on whether it's pre-menstruation, post-menstruation, what your menstruation is like, if it's heavy, if it's old blood, new blood. We will use different herbs depending on what your menstrual history is. If it's old blood, that's a good indication that the uterus isn't cleaning herself properly. So we will use more cleansing.
Yeah,
if it's bleeding, then we'll use herbs that help calm down hemorrhaging. So we also use a belt called the faja, which is a long length of material that you tie around the body in a special way. It supports the back and it supports the abdomen. So if you have got a misaligned uterus, you'd wear it after your massage, and you tie it up according to where your uterus is to help bring it back into alignment. So you're resting the ligaments that are too tight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Ones that are too loose to strengthen up.
Oh, amazing. And I want to go back to the perineal, I can never say it, the perineal steaming, because I think it's fascinating. It's also very pleasant when you get it right. And we've had a laugh about this. We've had a laugh about this because if you get it wrong, I think there's a lot of hype out there. Not hype, hype's not even the wrong word. There's a lot of concern out there that actually perineal steaming is not a good thing. And yes, if you get it wrong, as I did when I first did it, you can cause burns. And I mean, the easiest way of doing it, and you kind of helped educate me where, put a bowl in the loo, don't put it too close to yourself, make sure it's not too steaming. Because the first time you did, I actually burnt my labia. And it's because I put the bowl too close. But I mean, when you do it right, it's a very lovely ritual and to sit there, and I sit there with my dressing gown on top of the loo, and it's very cleansing, and it is a lovely, lovely practice. But I think if you don't know anything about it, it can seem a bit scary to do it. It's because, you're worried about burning. But it is an age-old tradition, isn't it? It's not something that's new. It's been around a long time, hasn't it?
It's ancient. It's like massage. It's 4,000 years old. All the ancient people use it. One course that I was on, we had a young Asian lass on it because it can be used for urine infections.
Mm.
In this country, we're not supposed to do it if the lady actually has a urine infection. We can do it before, so to prevent them, or afterwards to improve the immune system and to help cleanse the bladder. The young lass remembers her grandmother doing it to her. I say young lass because she was half my age, but she remembers her grandmother doing it to her the very, very first time that she had a urine infection. And Nan made her sit over it when it was steaming red hot and would have burnt.
In
this country, what the worry is if you do it when the bacteria are active, they're going to multiply quicker. But the herbs that you would use for infection would kill the bacteria.
Yeah. Okay, would it be antibacterial? Yeah.
Your oreganos, you would use your basils, you would use your herbs that are antibacterial.
Yeah.
So that would kill the bacteria. Therefore, the heat isn't going to the bacteria aren't going to be allowed to multiply because you're actually destroying them. So they can't multiply because you're killing them because you're using an antimicrobe.
So can people do this? I mean, so they do this. Does this help endometriosis as well as fertility? Or is it, are there different herbs then for endometriosis? Are there different herbs for fertility?
You can use your anti-inflammatories.
Okay.
So your anti-inflammatories, there's a lot of pain with endometriosis. It's soft muscle. So you can use your analgesics and your nurturing, like your marigolds. They're very, very nurturing, and they're analgesic and they're antispasmodic for smooth muscle. So they'll help with the pain. And your cleansers, your basil will help cleanse the endometrium, because you want that really nice, thick, fluffy endometrium. You don't want old endometrium there. And the warmth itself is going to increase the blood supply, and increasing the blood supply, it means that you're going to get a healthier endometrium.
Excellent. So there's lots of tools there with the castor oil, the perineal steam, I've already forgotten what's called, the wrap. That's it, the Faha wrap. And then of course the massage. So there's lots of practices that can be used as part of that toolbox to help with, women with endometriosis, to help them optimize their fertility. So is there anything else that you think that might help women on their fertility journey that you can think of that we've not covered?
I think massage, whether it's the abdominal massage that I would teach you, or whether you're going to a masseuse who you've been going to for years, the de-stress factor, because it doesn't just de-stress the body, it de-stresses the emotions. You go to a different place. If you're laying underneath the hands of a good masseuse, whether she's abdominal therapy trained or isn't, she's going to take you to a different place. So your anxiety is going to go. The stress is going to go. It's taking the stress away, because it's very, very, very stressful and anxious time when you're trying to get pregnant and you're trying your hardest to do everything. One of the things that we do is get people to laugh and be happy, because that's going to de-stress them. And I am a bit of a clown, as you know.
I wasn't saying you're a clown, but you do make me laugh.
And one of the things that Don Alicchio, one of his teachings, when Rosita was training with him, one of his teachings is that if you make a person laugh, that's half the work done, and the rest is done with the herbs. That was one of his favorite sayings. And
I think that's so true, and it's something that I talk to my clients about, is the joy and laughter. And sometimes it's very easy to kind of get so focused on things, and you forget the joyful things in life. You forget the joy and the happiness, and how when you have a laugh with your partner, with your friends, with whoever it is, it really de-stresses you. So laughing, have a massage, they're fantastic tips. So finally, a question that I always ask is, if women listening to this episode today can take one thing away from you, what would that one thing be?
Oh, there's so many, isn't there? The one thing is that your health is the more important than anything else. Your health and your happiness. You need to be healthy and you need to be happy. And that is more important than anything else. Because if you're healthy and you're happy and it's meant to happen, it will.
Thank you. That's really good advice. Really good advice. So where can women find and connect with you? And if they can't connect with you because they're not in the Yorkshire Dales, can they connect with other people like yourselves?
Yeah. We've got a website, the Abdominal Therapy Collective. I believe it's .com. Pretty sure it's.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, and if you go on there, there's a page, find your practitioner, type in what country you're in, type in what state you're in America, or what county you're in England, and the list will come up of who's nearest you. Rosita boasts that she can go to any country in the world and be put up for free because she's got a therapist in every country.
That's pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. I wonder, Antarctica, it's not a country, is it?
Well, some would argue that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you. That's great. And what about you? How can people find you? I'll put the details on as well locally.
If you type in Jacksfeet in Google, I come up. I'm pretty sure I come up straight away, Jacksfeet. I come up very easily on Facebook, Jacksfeet. I've got my telephone number. I don't hide it, so people can get in touch with me. If you do ring me, give me a text first, because if I'm with a client, obviously I can't take the phone call. Just drop me a text and I'll get back to you.
Excellent. Jack, thank you.
The Dow's, come see me.
Yeah, and I do. I trek across. It takes me an hour and 15 minutes to come and see you. But it is a mission, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. And I actually quite like the drive into the Dales. It's wonderful.
Especially if the weather's good.
I know, especially if the weather's good. So thank you ever so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. You've shared a wealth of information today, and I know that women are going to find it really, really useful. So I will share lots of things in the show notes, and I look forward to sharing another podcast with you soon.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
Thanks, Jack. See you later.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found some useful tips and actions you can take away and put into practice. If you loved listening, be sure to subscribe so you'd never miss an episode. It would be amazing if you could take a minute to leave an Apple or Spotify review. Your feedback helps us reach more women who might benefit and keeps the podcast going strong, and it only takes a second. If you know someone who would love to listen to this episode, please share it with them. So this season, I'm introducing the podcast goodie bag, where you will get access to a range of fantastic freebies contributed from our guests. To do this, you just have to sign up to the Endo Fertility mailing list, which is where you'll be the first to hear my inner thoughts, tried experiences, and the latest products and service launches. The link to the podcast goodie bag sign up page is in the show notes below. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next week for another episode.